Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because, well, we're focusing on something truly fascinating. We spend a lot of time in economics looking at the rules, how markets behave predictably, how rational actors make decisions. But today we're looking at the rule breakers. We're going to explore those rare, totally mind-bending exceptions where the normal laws of supply just completely and utterly fall apart. Think about this for a second. Can a higher price ever actually result in less supply? I mean, in a normal market, if a buyer waves a giant stack of cash in your face and offers you triple the going rate for a product, you produce more of it, right? It's just common sense. The profit incentive kicks in. But what happens when standard economic rules bend or just break entirely? What happens when a skyrocketing price tag results in the exact same amount of goods, or even fewer? That's the mystery we're decoding today. Okay, let's dive into this by establishing our baseline. Before we can look at the exceptions, we gotta know the rule. The law of supply is pretty simple. Usually, when the price of a good rises, the quantity offered for sale rises right along with it. It's a positive relationship. You pay more, suppliers make more. It's really the foundational heartbeat of standard economics. So normally, we expect to see an upward sloping supply curve. A nice, predictable diagonal line as price and quantity increase together. But today, we are dissecting the rebels. We're looking at two bizarre, almost alien-looking curves that bend the rules entirely. And we're going to understand exactly why they behave the way they do. Moving right along, let's check out case one, fixed supply. To really understand fixed supply, we have to step away from factory assembly lines and unlimited manufacturing and look at unique historical creation. Think about classical paintings like Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, or think about ancient original manuscripts, incredibly rare postage stamps, or really old minted coins. These aren't widgets rolling off a conveyor belt. They are unique historical artifacts. And honestly, no matter how much money you offer, nobody can go back in time and ask Da Vinci to paint a second original Mona Lisa. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens to the math. Notice that perfectly vertical supply curve there, labeled SS. The price can shoot up to infinity on the vertical axis, but that line, it doesn't budge an inch to the right. The quantity is absolutely locked in place. It simply cannot expand, no matter how high prices skyrocket. In economic terms, we call this perfectly inelastic supply. The responsiveness to a price change is, practically speaking, zero. Time and history literally physically constrain the creation of these goods. Interestingly enough, this can also happen with agricultural products in the short run. Like once the wheat crop is grown for the season, well, that's it. The supply is fixed until the next season, no matter what happens to the price today. All right, let's pivot over to case two, labor supply. So we're leaving the world of fixed historical artifacts and entering the complex, super fascinating world of human behavior. We call this the labor paradox, and it's such a counterintuitive twist. We established earlier that a higher price usually means more supply, right? So if the price of labor, which is just the wage rate, goes up, an individual should want to supply more hours of work. Well, yes, up to a point. But eventually, human psychology completely disrupts the standard economic model. You literally reach a situation where paying someone more money actually results in them choosing to work fewer hours. To understand why this happens, we have to juxtapose two competing psychological forces going on in a worker's head, the substitution effect and the income effect. Initially, the substitution effect is way stronger. As wages rise, the worker swaps their leisure time for work because taking time off just feels way too expensive when you could be making great money. You substitute leisure for labor. But eventually, the income effect kicks in. This is when the worker feels wealthy enough that they can actually afford to buy back their own free time. Now, what's really interesting about this is the critical turning point right in the middle of the graph, point T. The curve starts off totally normal, sloping upward as the wage rate increases. But when it hits point T, it physically bends backward. It creates a negative slope. Higher wages, moving from P up to P1, actually lead to a smaller quantity of labor hours supplied, dropping from Q back to Q1. Let's walk through this psychological journey chronologically. Step 1, your wage rises, you're motivated. You prefer labor to leisure because you want to earn more income. Step 2, you keep getting raises until you hit that critical threshold, point T. Step 3, at a very high wage rate, you realize, hey, I've earned plenty of money. You're comfortable. So instead of grinding for more cash, you decide you'd rather spend your weekend with your family or maybe working on a hobby. You actively choose to work fewer hours to enjoy more leisure time. So the crucial point is this. The actual bend in the curve happens the exact moment the income effect becomes greater than the substitution effect. Supply isn't just a mathematical output on a spreadsheet. It is deeply constrained by human behavior, our desires, and how our priorities fundamentally shift once our wealth reaches a certain peak. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But before we go, I want to leave you with a direct challenge, really applying this behavioral economics paradox to your own life. Think about your own career and your own time. If your wages skyrocketed tomorrow, if someone offered you 10 times your current hourly rate, would you work every single waking hour? Or would you work just enough to live comfortably and then take the rest of the week off? Essentially, where exactly is your point T? Thanks so much for watching, and keep questioning the rules.